You want to click the Zoom? Go ahead and call this council regular session to order. It's February the 2nd, time is 7 p.m. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up for visitor comments. If you have a comment, please come up, state your name for the record, and keep it to 5 minutes or less.
Take off my mask, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Makes recording easier.
Yes, absolutely. My name is Molly Matchek. I'm the owner of Molly's Market. I'm not sure if council's aware of what happened Friday night at 7:30
Yes.
p.m. I'm asking council going forward with the new riverfront and the new First Street to take consideration to noise and speed ordinance. What happened Friday night was terrible.
Yes.
He hit 4 cars and he totaled my car.
Yes.
I looked at the films with the police officer the next day, and there was a couple, they were 50 seconds later, my car was hit and then pushed up on Mrs. and Mr. Grant's property. That couple would have been completely wiped out. So what I'm asking council is please take in consideration of safety, noise ordinance, speed ordinance, the semi trucks that come in and do the deliveries for the restaurants and businesses there. It's kind of dangerous, you know, they double park. It's hard to go around and see if another car is coming. I think you guys should really take a look at this going forward, because Friday night was awful. And I was thinking, and I talked to other people, if it would have happened on the other side of the street in April, with outside seating in the street, those people would have been wiped out, no doubt. So I'm just asking council, please consider it noise, speed, anything you can do to improve First Street when we're doing the downtown, you know, revision or whatever. And I was wondering if you were able to tell me what type of parking will be happening on my side of the street. Are you doing parallel? Are you doing the vertical? Has anyone what's going forward with that? I don't recall exactly.
Yeah, well, a couple things there. First of all, the street extension on Strand and First is going to, at every intersection and every pedestrian crossing, there would be physical. The street is called curb extensions, where it kind of comes out and creates a clover leaf, so it really slows things down, makes it real narrow and short crossing for pedestrians and obstacles for cars going. That can still go faster than what I suppose, but it's rational people will slow down and
Yeah.
right. Parking in that section is pretty well the same, parallel on that side.
Okay. No, you know, for safety. I don't know what your social lives are, but in the summertime, I'm sure some of you have heard or have been eating at those particular restaurants, just loud cars that do it on purpose. They want attention. They actually live in the apartments that are around that area. And it's super frustrating because they're just, you know, I don't know their lives or whatever, but they're showing up. At the speed thing is really a concern for me. And I'm very, very thankful that that couple that I saw in the film didn't get wiped out because they were lucky. And even the police officer said, thank God I didn't have to drag another dead body out, you know, this weekend or whatever. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention if you would take that into consideration. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Your comment
Yes,
about Friday and the noise and the speed in this whole downtown area seems to be a game plan. As you say, people seem to want to be recognized for not having any brains but a loud mouth. It is not just First Street that's a problem in this downtown area.
Okay, well, I work on First Street and I'm there 72 hours a day, just jokingly, but I'm there a lot to know that it's really a nuisance and I know who they are and they're, it's just not acceptable.
It's not just First Street, we're getting to them in some of the other neighborhood streets.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yes, I was across the street when it happened. And I've been thinking a lot about that this week. If we are spending a lot of money into the development of this area, what we need to do to improve safety and livability. And so thank you for coming.
Yeah. Friday night, 7:30, the
Yeah.
Plymouth Pub, running dogs. It's packed. People are walking up and down. It's just, I'm so blessed. Cars are cars. You can replace cars, but not people.
I'm just amazed that happened. I only heard of it. Yes, I was amazed at 4 different rings.
Yeah.
And
And my car stopped
in
his
the
car.
location that it happened, and it's a 4-way stop. If he would, come this way, obviously.
Well, he came down this way, came around Second, ran into Domino's. Domino's said, we gotta call the cops. He said, no, went around and then flipped around First Street where Plymouth Pub is. He clipped, and then smashed into my car. So it was pretty horrific.
Wow.
Ugly.
So anyways, thank God no one got hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Okay, other visitor comments?
Thank God you don't read the mic, Brady pre-arm. It seems like your meeting goes better when you don't, so I appreciate that. I did notice that you're doing a contract with the reservoir, so hopefully this multi-year issue of the leaking thing is gonna get resolved. I'm hoping that that is what that's for and that will actually be resolved. I think it's been, what, 5 years, something like that it's been leaking, so hopefully that gets resolved. I watched today where you have officially made it that you're stealing money from Gina, which of course I knew was gonna happen. But hey, who knew? I did. But if we're gonna do it, why don't you really do it big? Spend $50,000 and maybe it actually could be a tourism event. If we're gonna do it, let's do it big. You might as well. She's obviously earned the money. She probably will be really irritated, but it's like, hey, it's gonna be a lot of money. Do it, you're gonna do it. The other thing is, I am happy to say for a change that it looks like you've actually finally done something about the derelict boats. The pirate ship is gone. I don't know what happened to it or how it happened, but I'm delighted. So I don't know how that occurred or why it occurred or if you had anything to do with it. But if you did, great. I'm very happy to see that those are now gone. That's an improvement. I do want to sort of berate you about not having a contract yet with Tina. I'm hoping that that can get resolved. I think it's taking too long. It needs to get resolved. You need to get on with that. You need to sign a contract with her. It's not fair to her that she continues to work without a contract. And then I do want to talk about Steve's request for being reimbursed for his legal fees, which did not get a second. Knowing Steve, as he's brought up his lawsuit against the city that he lost multiple times, several times, I'm sure it will come up again. I am obviously opposed that you would even consider, which obviously you didn't, but that you would consider giving him reimbursement for his fees. He gets paid. I guess that's what he should use his counselor fees for. The fact that he would even ask to be reimbursed for a situation that he himself created, to me, is ridiculous. So I would say that, proactively, no, he should not be reimbursed for his that he created that legal situation. And I'm also happy to note that it looks like Shedco is actually, or Main Street now, is actually doing the work on the theater. So I don't know how that happened or why they didn't actually say it's happening or when that got planned, but I'm very delighted to say that it looks like it's actually being worked on in the theater. And so those are two good things that I think is really happening, and I'm really anxious to see what it looks like.
I'm Jeff Nelson, I'm on North First Street, 295 North First Street. And I just had a conversation via email with Matt Brown, the financial director in the water department. What my issue is that I have a large balance on my water bill. And we've been struggling to pay with everything else going on. My wife is a healthcare worker, but she was diagnosed with cancer and she had reduced her hours even more. And I've been struggling with an injury myself, but Matt Brown brought up a policy that you guys don't have anything in place whereby that he could extend to anybody for any reason, is what he stated, what the rule was. And I was kind of wondering as to why. All I'm looking for is an extension until I can get my tax money. Tax money comes unfortunately with a caveat that it's up for review for any basically assistance, childcare, what have you, you won't get paid for it until the first week of March. So with a deadline that was set kind of in stone, I guess, as the first week of February, that kind of sets people on the lower end of the economic scale, kind of at a dead end there, and there's no gap to fill it. I did meet with the community action team with my paperwork and stuff. They had offered me $200 towards a large balance. Well, I can pay the rest of it in March, and I'm more than willing to do so. And Matt suggested that there are other programs and stuff. And I'm just saying, hey, I want to pay my bill. I'd like to have the support in order to do that, just with an extension going to, I guess it'd be, if there's any problems in getting the money, which sometimes with the government that can happen, as you well know, until March 15th. If there's any way that can be done for my case as an exception or just in general for that entire economic class, it's going to be, this is an annual event. We we pay off a lot of bills, unfortunately. I've gone from the top tier of economic income to the bottom. And unfortunately, this is a major economic thing that we deal with every year is the tax return, and we pay out all our bills. And if there's any way to get a consideration for that, just for 5 weeks, that would bridge the gap and I could pay my bills rather than be dependent on some social program or something else. But as it was stated by Matt Brown, there was no other option and we were just gonna be shut off on February 7th arbitrarily.
I would like to see an extension on the government's water bill.
I agree. I mean, I appreciate you coming forward and coming here and
I'm sure there's other.
trying other options to, get your needs met. So I don't see why we couldn't extend it until the 15th.
Yeah, I mean, he's reached out to community action, he's
Yeah.
talked to Matt, he's done everything, and now here at council, because and Matt's right, he's only doing his job.
Yeah, right.
So,
I just don't, there's no
yeah,
stopgap there.
so, we'll just say by the end of March,
And March would be perfect.
yeah, okay. What was your name again?
Jeff Nelson. Who should I follow up with that?
Well, we're gonna go ahead and, our evening session, so we can go ahead, is everybody okay with that? Discussion on that?
I didn't hear it.
Okay, so, we got 4 of us that say yes, so, we will make sure that John Walsh passes this down to, Matt Brown, who will let our city guys know not to shut off the water.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, just for clarification, March 15th, it's paid in full, but at March 15th?
It's at the end of March.
That's the end of March.
In the end of March.
Yeah, paid in full, yes.
Paid in full.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I just want to make an apology to the council. I had a family emergency that needed my attention, so I'm very sorry I was late.
Yep, glad you're here.
Okay, other visitor comments?
Ben.
Yeah. Ben Testorino,
Then again,
you want to go ahead and unmute yourself?
Hello, hello. Hi, City Council members. So I attended this afternoon's meeting. I wanted to commend you. First of all, I came down to thank Margaret personally for her retirement and the way you recognized her efforts and work and acknowledged her legacy. It was fantastic. I have always admired how administrators and the council appreciates the people who work and volunteer for the city. That is a reason why people often disengage, because they don't feel appreciated. And that is definitely something that you continue to do, the newer council members and those who've been serving for a long time. And I just want to let you know that that was noted and it's always welcome. And to that end, in a similar way, the way you listened to some of the public comments today and then addressed, especially like when it came to the fireworks, that conversation, magnificent job. There was different viewpoints at first, but you seem to massage out a solution that would actually tend to both needs, which is a form of appreciating. And that's really the best we could ask for from our elected officials. So I wanted to commend you for that. And then I guess thirdly, I did attend the general meeting for the Halloween Town, Spirit of Halloween Town that Tina began to organize last night. And I wanted to give kudos to her for, this early in the season, getting the ball rolling on that. And actually listening, having the team who's been working with her for a while. Apparently there were quite a few new faces. It was my first time attending these meetings at all, so I didn't really have a reference point. But she did listen. The team who supports her and is supporting get the Spirit of Halloween Town Festival going, even when there was something that may be out of the purview, such as some of the trash cans down alleys from local business owners, that may not necessarily be in the purview of the what the tourism does for the Halloween Town. It was actually listened to and some creative solutions were suggested. It's still very early in the process, but it was one of those points that has been a sore spot and sometimes created more tension than needed to be. And I thought the meeting with the spirit of cooperation went rather well. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here. There's obviously things that need to be massaged out as we move forward into the year, but as just an attendee who hasn't really contributed to the organizing or leading, but is wanting to get more involved now, gave me a lot of hope and a lot less of the, this is going to be messy feelings when I came away from that meeting. So I wanted to give kudos to her and I guess use that as further affirmation that you guys are making the right choices in this direction. So thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Any other visitor comments? If you'd like to make a comment, if you're on Zoom, you need to raise your hand. We will acknowledge you. I am not seeing any. Okay, ordinance first reading, ordinance number 3280, an ordinance to annex and designate the zone of certain property at 58389 Columbia River Highway. Approved and authorized for signature, 2, agreement with Walker Consultants for professional forensics engineering services for 2.mg reservoir liner. 3, lease renewal for Masonic Building at 231 and 235 South First Street. 4, contract with St. Helens LCC for construction and required improvements in Commons Lot 4. 5, agreement with Gabriel Shepherd to transcribe city council meetings recordings, city council meeting recordings. 6, contract payments.
I move we approve and authorize for signatures item number 2 and 6 as read.
2 through 6.
Comment
Yes.
on this agreement for Walker Consultants for professional forensic engineering services. And it talks about the reservoir lining. The lining may not be the answer. The forensic part of it is the more important. There is going to be an investigation. This is a comment I've had with Zari of what exactly is the type of leak and where it is. The liner would, which it mentions here, would only indicate you're putting a plastic bag, if you would, inside the concrete. The forensic engineering studies will go way beyond just the concrete bowl.
Exactly. And we have Mohammed on the on Zoom, I noticed. So yes, you are exactly right that this is a forensic, not only is it's a forensic company. And Mohammed, would you like to speak a little bit on it?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council Topaz. Yes, you are correct. This would be a forensic for an entire reservoir, basically investigation, not just the lining. The lining is just one part of the entire project. It's a questionable one. It's a major player into the failure of this reservoir leak. However, we are looking at every single inch of this entire reservoir. So it will be a comprehensive expert in the reservoir leakage and such.
Okay. Any other discussions? And I just want to clarify, Doug, you meant 2 through 6 as read?
That's what I said. I thought I heard.
You said 2 and 6.
Oh, I thought I heard 2 through 6. That's what I seconded.
Actually, me and Kathy both caught it, so I looked at her and I just want to clarify that it was 2 through 6.
Did I take this thing off?
Any other discussion?
It was seconded, then I
Yeah,
commented.
that's why I said, I didn't hear who seconded.
Okay,
I seconded.
so any other discussion? All right, I have a motion that's been made and seconded to approve and authorize the signatures 2 through 6 as read. Council President Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Topaz,
Aye.
Councilor Shelton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley,
Aye.
no, and I as well. Consent agenda for acceptance, library board minutes dated December 13th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the library. Council President Morton,
Aye.
Councilor Topaz,
Aye.
Councilor Shelton,
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley,
I,
no, and I as well. Consent agenda for approval, council minutes, work session, executive session, and regular session, minutes dated January 5th, 2022. Special session, minutes dated January 12th, 2022. Work session, executive session, public forum, public hearing, and regular session, minutes dated January 19th, 2022. Long day, I remember that day. 9, new accountant, 1, 2, and 3, and IT specialist, 1, 2, and 3, job descriptions. 10, OLCC license. 11, accounts payable bonus.
I move that we approve consent agenda item number 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Okay. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Okay, motion,
And
yes, go ahead.
on the draft minutes for January 5, at the top of the page would be page, or item 8, page 122. Discussion of Topaz censure. John gives a report. And as I remember, he actually put numbers down on his, he had a survey, put numbers down, and here are just his interactions. I would like the parents to put down the actual numbers that John spoke.
Can you read that for us, please?
Are you talking about the number of people who
Yeah,
were
he-
surveyed?
Yeah, because it does not say how many he surveyed in the minutes.
Okay.
Can you read it so it as it should read?
Let's see, it should read, he sent out 75 what it was 75 questionnaires, and he received back, I forget how many numbers he received back. Here it just says, email was sent to all employees. If there anybody, but he put numbers in when he spoke.
Well, if we're going to adjust edit the minutes, it should read, what's your recommendation that it should read?
I will
Because
have
we
to,
can't just,
well, it should read the recorded spoken words that John said.
But he doesn't recall the numbers that John said. is what-
I don't recall the numbers. They're on the record someplace.
so what are we approving?
Well, I'm thinking,
What's the edit that we're approving?
well, I think he's asking John to tell him the numbers of the survey,
I
and
don't
then we
remember.
would.
But he doesn't remember.
I don't remember specifically, but I did write a memo about that, so it was all staff and it talked about
We should have
who responded, or not who, particularly the number that responded and the comments and
and it should be on the record if you're not,
so.
you don't have John's record.
So we
Say
can,
something.
we can make a motion to approve
Yeah.
the appropriate number and carry this over till our next meeting. I mean, you don't have to go run back and figure out what it was. I mean, that's gonna take some time.
I'm sure he has the survey results still.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
but it just has
we
to go
can
back.
make a motion to correct that portion of it. Is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
that's
to do?
exactly what I'm asking you.
So you would need to make a motion to amend, right?
Exactly.
Or withdraw your motion.
Yes,
Okay, so we've got a motion on the table now.
yeah, so it has to be, those in favor?
Nay.
Nay.
Wait, those opposed? Aye.
Aye, okay.
Okay, now go ahead, make another motion, somebody.
Motion is on the, John's report for Topaz Center to insert in the present record the actual numbers that John spoke as recorded, I would assume, in the minutes or the
To the
recording
January
of our
5th,
minutes.
to the January 5th.
That's right. Get back to where it was. I even took my sheet of paper up here.
Go back. Fast forward to what we're talking
John
about.
gives a report.
So it's not he received a dozen responses
Yeah, but he
before
gave
those
you-
were in
Yeah,
action.
he described how many emails he sent out,
How many employees we have?
how many he sent out. There was he had a number.
And how many
That's what I'm
have
saying.
we back?
Sent out.
I have how many we've received back.
Oh, you do?
Well, I think that was all that was there. I think he said it out, not everybody even responded. He
I
just
thought it
talked
was a
about.
very
the
low
numbers.
number of responses.
He received a
I
dozen
was
responses.
thinking like 4 or something.
Yeah,
But there's no numbers in the report. That was my point.
Oh, okay.
so we do have an archive though under
Yeah.
YouTube
Yep.
as well.
That was the whole thing, so.
So I need a real motion now for the, the whole entire consent agenda for approval.
So what are we doing with this one? Do we need to vote on this one for him, money to amend?
Oh, did you just make a motion?
Did you just make a motion?
Let's go ahead and do this. Can I get a motion? I'm gonna read this, okay? Council meeting minutes, special session, I'm gonna leave out the top one. Council meeting minutes, special session minutes dated January 12th, 2022, work session, executive session, public forum, public hearing, and regular session minutes dated January 19th, 2022. 9, new accountant 1, 2, and 3, and IT specialist 1, 2, and 3 job descriptions. 10, OLCC licenses. 11, accounts payable bill list.
Move we approve consent agenda as read.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda as read. Council President Wood.
Aye.
Councilor
Aye.
Topaz. Councilor Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Now, work session minutes, executive session and regular session minutes dated January 5th, 2022 be amended with the number of responses. If somebody would like to move that.
I move that we approve the work session, executive session, regular session minutes dated January 5th to be amended.
To be amended with the amount of responses on Councilor Topaz's survey for
Censure discussion.
censure discussion, yes, yep.
Good teamwork. That took
Okay.
three of us to do that. I love that. We got
Council
it.
President
Aye.
Martin. Councilor Topaz. Councilor Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. That way it's not kicked down the road. We got it taken care of. Kathy, we had one thing from earlier or two?
Here's the audit proposal for events
You
management.
know your mask?
Oh, we finally caught Kathy. Gotcha.
No.
So one's the audit proposal for events management. It's authorization to sign that.
Yes.
And then we wanted to provide comment tonight for the public about the library director
Yeah.
appointment process.
So we need to go ahead and approve the audit, the signature for the Marina. Did I say that right? Yep, Marina. Audit company, have John sign the signature to have an audit done on E2C. So moved. Okay, bring a second.
Second.
Okay, and then second to approve John to sign the document for Marina to start the audit process. Council President Gordon.
Aye.
Councilor Topaz. Councilor Chilton.
Aye.
Councilor Berkeley.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. And then earlier, we just want to make sure that we have stated that if we're in our earlier meeting, we opened it up for public comment because we'll be going into executive session under hiring, so to speak, for the new library director, that we had open for public comment. And this would be another opportunity if somebody would like to comment on what they would like to see as that position has changed from just libraries to more community centers. So we just want to make sure that we get a feel and want to give another opportunity for public comment. But we did have it earlier on our agenda. So that is happening 11th. Not hearing any, so that's all we needed to talk about there. Okay, what do I have to report on? If I were mayor contest, kids, get ready, and here it comes. What are the age groups?
4th and 5th graders do a,
Yeah.
sorry, 4th and 5th graders do a poster,
Yeah.
6th through 8th do essays, or they can do a PowerPoint this year.
Cool.
They don't have to have an essay. And then high schoolers have to do some kind of video presentation,
Nice.
which is a little different this year.
And so we are offering first place $150 to the first place winner, and for the second is $50, and then a lunch with myself. And those are due March 28th, a little earlier, so that's why we are making this announcement now. And that gives you through spring break to get her turned in, and then we will submit it to the state. Because then shortly after that, it goes to the state.
So this year, is there a change where fourth grade teachers can enter the fourth grade, fifth grade competition?
Unfair.
No, I can't,
You
okay,
look
I can just,
like-
I just need to promote it amongst my students. Okay. Okay, but I will, I'll be promoting that at Columbia City.
I think if I brought you to OMA and I said, this is our winner for the fourth
It
grade.
wouldn't.
it probably wouldn't go.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair.
So.
Got a racehorse in there.
And typically, just so council knows, we used to do two meetings off, but July 6th will be this year's meeting off. Just wanted to, that's that first Wednesday. And just wanted to let everybody know, that's all I have to report on. Easy peasy, we're gonna be out of here early tonight, baby.
So I got a
Hey,
late
don't jinx it. Jinx it.
You know, I was really excited to hear about the waterfront group moving forward so fast and so efficiently with their findings, and look forward to their recommendations and really making that all happen. Really a good work group that was diversified by a group of people who had stakes in the waterfront, and appreciate John for organizing that and making it happen. So I really look forward to that report today. It was a very positive one, so I appreciate that very much. Other than that, I like the work that the discussion that we had with our Parks Commission and how we will be working out the finer details of the permits and the accountability of the holders of those permits of making any kinds of repairs, any kinds of improvements that are needed to the parks that we use. That's just not only tourism, that's for everyone that we're talking about. So it's a kind of a wish of people in public works as well as parks. Anyway, I was impressed with that. Thank you.
I have a number of things basically centered around newspaper articles. There was a bit in the Chronicle today about our waterfront with another picture. I've been asked which picture are we actually have in the waterfront, because people are saying they've seen about 6 pictures. And that's getting confusing.
Yeah, if it's a Chronicle, they just grab some.
Yeah, but as they say, it's one of the things that we've got to,
Yep,
no, that isn't the one that was in there.
yeah.
Well, that's the one it is.
That's what I'm pointing, yeah, but that isn't what we're seeing, or what people are seeing, that's what they're asking me questions about. So somehow we've got to,
We aren't the Chronicle.
And so what we could do is we could ask Crystal for work to reach out to them and let them know that, we're moving this project forward. Make sure that it's confirmed. I'm not saying that it's not true, but if it's true that they have a different rendering, that, we're just getting ready for the RFQ phase. We have the current setup. We don't know what buildings are gonna be down there, what's gonna be down there. This is just the development of.
yeah, but that's it.
So Counselor, if I may, so when people ask me that, I simply say, we have the renderings for the Riverwalk, we have the plan for the street, but everything, any depiction of what's going in between those is totally conceptual.
That's right.
And so there might be half a dozen different conceptual, so that I assure them, the city has made no definite commitment to anything of what's going in between. We have committed to public access to the river and to the street extension.
Yeah, somehow we've got to get the newspaper to do that, because as I say, people, they don't do a whole lot of reading and look at the pictures. And that's the point there.
Point them at the website too. I usually send people to our website where there's lots of information about the river and pictures.
As I say, I'm not real hot on some of these people on websites. Also in the newspaper, there was another thing about the city in non-compliance with the mill or something. Seems we're getting a lot of press on non-compliance with federal agencies and having to do with stuff dumped into the lagoon in the river. Needs to be clarified. The other part of the newspaper that has got the federal newspaper was this state is the last of financial aid for drug addiction, and we're second from the bottom on the most drug addiction as a state. We sure ought to try to somehow brighten our picture. Another article, not having anything to do with the newspaper, as you know, there's a big problem with recycled plastics. And this particular article was talking about how plastics can be recycled into useful plastic items. And one of the things they point out, you need a lot of power to do it. We brought up, we've got a lot of power called the mill site. We've also got the space, we've got transportation, both by water and rail. Getting down Gable Road is probably not a good thing, but there's been a big push of where to put plastic recycling. And as you probably read, that a lot of the countries don't accept it can be a good business, but we've got the power and the space. You may want to put out feelers to get somebody to locate here. That's it.
All right. Counselor Chilton.
I have some police updates to share. There is a new chief of police in Scappoose. He's already reached out to us and shows the possibility of a great collaborative relationship going forward. I was really excited to hear that. Obviously, in neighboring city, it's important to have that relationship and being able to, collaborate on different things. So I'm excited about their new police chief. There's continued work on developing the countywide radio project, the CCOM. They continue to meet. All emergency personnel in Columbia County are trying to make this happen. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that in the future. Collaboration with the school district to continue discussion around the loss of having a school resource officer. I know that this is a big loss for the community, and I think we're going to see the effects of that soon, in the future, especially with the high school and just some of the issues around that. But I'm hopeful that, our police continue to meet with the school department and try to come up with creative solutions to meet that need. But, part of the reason why we are having to not have that school resource officer anymore is the staff shortages that we're experiencing with the police department. So again, I'm going to bring that up again as that continues to be an issue that I'm presented with from our chief. I want to bring attention to the staffing needs that have been presented to me by our chief. We are reaching critical status as far as being able to maintain our 24-hour coverage, which, as many of you are aware, is we are the only 24-hour law enforcement service in our county. So losing that would be very, very severe. As we continue to increase in population and crime stretching out from the metro area, this is extremely concerning to me. As we plan for the upcoming budget, I want to advocate for an increase in police officers by at least 2, with a hiring plan going forward that is sustainable for our growing city. It is imperative that we address this now and put the safety of our city first. I've reached out to other people and just kind of continued the dialogue in the community about this need, and there are a lot of very concerned people. So I want to keep that on the top of my priority list, and you guys will hear about it again in 2 weeks from me. So that's all I got.
All right, thank you. Councilor Berkeley.
Hey, not a whole lot of significant things, but I did visit Salmonberry with my wife and dog for the city's work plan, and gave me a real appreciation for the resource that we do have and the potential for developing it and some multi-use possibilities. It is a tremendous resource, and I really was impressed by our foresters report today, and look forward to the presentation of a plan that we can really go back to in terms of being able to help our citizens understand our stewardship for that property. I was really grateful for a somewhat short work session today, because it gave me the opportunity to patronize a local business, and through some serendipity, lo and behold, I had the opportunity to spend some time talking with Paul Vogel of the economic team, with the new port director, with one of our candidates for county commissioner, with someone who's on this worked for the State Department of Emergency Management, and a local attorney. So it was just really one of those cool opportunities where was getting out into the community, and just people coming. None of us had planned this, but getting together and being able to sit around a table and talk and build the connections. And it really makes me excited for continuing to grow those relationships. And that's a neat thing about being part of a smaller community. I don't imagine this happens much in Portland or other Salem or Eugene. So yeah, it was really nice just having a shorter time, a break between our meetings, but then doing city business in a less formal way. And the last thing, I think it is very important to acknowledge February is Black History Month. And throughout the month of February, we are encouraged to pay particular attention to the history of Blacks in the United States. I know we do not have a large Black population in St. Helens, But despite that, it's really important that we are aware of the needs of all of our citizens to especially help them feel safe and welcome. And that I encourage folks who want more information, go to blackhistorymonth.gov. Some great stuff, but there's also all kinds of other resources. So let's continue that celebration acknowledgement during this month of February.
One go back. Yeah, I just want to acknowledge Tina's report today regarding the Rose Garden. And I thought that was very timely that she's working on that to nurture it into another park, especially roses. And we all know that Portland's a city of roses. And it seems like it might be going away. I'm not certain if Portland is the city of roses anymore. So that gives us great impetus that we could be the city of roses right over there for us. Way to go.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we are adjourned.
Wow.
No, it won't be the city of roses, it'll be the city of too many green.